Do you want to reignite your creativity? Do you want to meet the industry's best and brightest? And do you want to get inspired all in one darn day? Well, then join me this September 30th, 2025 at ASID New Jersey's Design Expo. It's happening at Bell Works in Edison, New Jersey. This is a stunning venue with soaring glass atriums. And yes, this is where Apple TV's Severance was filmed. So it's pretty cool, isn't it? Now, you do not need to be a member of ASID New Jersey to attend this expo. And I'll be there moderating panels with some of New Jersey's top interior designers. And guess what? The WindowWorks team that I'm always talking about, those rock stars, they'll be there too because they're exhibiting. So come meet me, meet the WindowWorks team, learn about ASID, and meet all of the other exhibitors. Go to LuAnnNigara.com/Insta and use the code GREEN, all caps GREEN, 2025 at checkout, and you get 25% off as a podcast listener. So that's LuAnnNigara.com/Insta. Use the code GREEN 2025 for 25% off. I will see you September 30th, 2025 at Edison, New Jersey. Welcome to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company WindowWorks from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. Today we're going to talk about something that is urgent and important. It's not a trend. It's a fundamental change in how your future clients are finding you or not finding you online. I'm joined by Nicole Heymer, the founder of Gloria Brand, a boutique marketing agency that specializes in branding, SEO, websites, and automation just for our industry. Nicole has worked with interior designers, architects, window treatment professionals, and builders for over a decade. And she's worked with me personally for the last 10 years. This isn't just a friend coming on the show. Nicole is a trusted expert in my business, someone who's shaped how I think, how I present myself online, and how I stay relevant. And if you've ever wondered who I turn to when it's time to rethink a strategy, it's Nicole. And today she's breaking down what's happening right now with AI search. Think ChatGPT, Google's new AI mode, and all the large language models changing how consumers search and how they choose who they will do business with. Spoiler alert, it's not just about the keywords anymore. It's about summaries, associations, and authority. If your website and online presence aren't feeding AI the right information, you're invisible. Nicole explains what's different, what to fix, and how to stay visible and competitive in this new world. Now, before we get to Nicole, I want to tell you, this is exactly the kind of topic that we cover inside LuAnn University, right? Practical business education from experts who work in this industry every single day. If today's conversation makes you realize your marketing needs a serious refresh, check out our course, Marketing 201, Personal Brand Positioning for Creative Professionals. It's taught by my friend Rachel Moriarty. There's always a new semester starting soon, and you can see all the courses at LuAnnUniversity.com. So whether you need help pricing, hiring, marketing, or yes, your website and digital presence, there is a course to help you stop guessing and start growing. All right, let's introduce you to Nicole. Hey, Nicole. Nicole. Thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business again.
Hi, LuAnn. How's it going today?
It's great. I thought about it. I never thought to. Do you know how many times you've been on the show? Is this like
Maybe 3 before this, but I feel like I want to. Don't ask me that, actually.
I know. I would have guessed 3 also,
Yeah.
right? But it's hard to keep it separate because we talk so often and we work so closely together. I'm like, well, which conversations are on the show?
Right. And
which are-
also the window treatment podcast, and like there
Yes.
are a lot of different things that have happened. So yeah.
Exactly. So, all right. But the thing is, you were at WindowWorks a couple of months ago at this point, and you did an in-person lunch and learn for us on, AI and how that's changing how we need to think about our website and how it's changing consumer behavior in searches. And I'm going to tell you, that was probably in June? Was that? That was only
I
a
believe
month and a
so.
half ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're recording the beginning of August. So it's maybe 6 weeks ago. And I have probably said 10 times in 6 weeks, oh, you have to go find on the WindowWorks social media the link to that lunch and learn, and just sit there and put it on your car when you're driving or when you're walking, because there was so much good stuff out of it. And then I thought, all right, we actually need to get it out here on the podcast. So I guess the thing about it is what is going on in online search that's different and new that we have to address, Nicole, right?
Like so much. Yeah. We're at a moment in history, LuAnn. We really are. It was funny with that because we had scheduled that talk, and I originally was talking about 2 things: overviews in Google search. So everyone would know that as like when you're like, what's the weather today? And then you type it in, and then it just gives you the weather. It doesn't send you to the weather.com. Like, it just shows you on page, right? AI overviews. And that's been going on for years now. And it has impacted search and who's being found for what and how people are clicking over. And then ChatGPT and Gemini and Perplexity and other, they're called large language models. The fact that people are using them now to find recommendations for services. So all set to talk about that. And then, I don't know, a week before that talk, Google starts rolling out AI mode, which is basically taking what was just, a Google search and kind of turning it into ChatGPT. So now, and you may or may not be seeing it yet if you're listening to this, because Google Workspace, they're rolling it out a bit at a time. So if you have a Google business, if you're using Google, the business version of email, Gmail, then you might not be seeing it yet. You might have to go into another window or something. But the point is, all online search at this point is evolving into AI-based stuff. It is different. It is a big moment in history. It reminds me of when websites went mobile responsive, and we all had to we had to rebuild every website for phones. Whoa. Right? That was a big deal. Mobile get in, the whole thing. That was a big deal. I was around for that. It reminds me of Google AdWords, now Google Ads, but when you could buy a few pennies, you could run ads. In the early days, we are in these very early days of a big shift, and that's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. And it's funny because, of course, I've noticed the AI, the serve up of the AI answer at the top, right? But it's interesting. I always love to hear from somebody like yourself, a professional in the field, where I'm just like, oh, okay. And you're like, whoa. Oh, this is a thing. We got to do things differently for this thing. And I'm like, oh,
everybody, stop what you're doing.
Right. I'm just rolling with it. I'm not noticing it or anything.
But you're not rolling. I mean, you're rolling with it in that you are a human being.
Reactive.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're literally you're an example of it in itself. Yeah. You are asking ChatGPT for recommendations for all sorts of things, right?
Yes.
Including probably service providers or products or whatever. And what we're noticing is that like we talk to our clients as part of the sort of like beginning process of working with the initial consultation process. And we ask them directly, like, if you had to look for another interior designer, window treatment professional, like, what would you put into Google? Where would you search? How would you go about that? And even people who would not previously have Google searched necessarily are asking, in some cases, their best buddy, ChatGPT. ChatGPT currently has about 75% of the market share for these
Yes.
LLMs for recommendations, because they see that ChatGPT as a reliable resource. It's
Yeah.
like a new version of the referral.
Yeah. Yeah. What's interesting, because you mentioned, like, I'm using it. I've been using ChatGPT since like December of 22 or whatever it was, right when it came out, coincidentally, ish. Um, but the funny thing is it hasn't been until the last 2 months that I've asked ChatGPT for external questions that I normally would have gone to Google with,
Hmm.
and I still don't always. In other words, I've been using it like Jenna Gadusik, our resident AI,
Yes.
guru here,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
She I learned from her at the IDS conference in Santa Fe last year. Load a special GBT up with your content and then just have it work from your content. So for me, that's what I've got my books loaded. I've got my solo podcast episodes, all the things, blah, blah, blah. So, but I was still going to Google to ask it a thing. But what I was noticing was the first answer at the top was an AI answer. You see?
Yeah.
So I was passively noticing that, but not doing what you do as a professional, going, oh, if it's in the lunch and learn, I learned where you're like, if the first answer Google's going to give you is an AI answer, obviously you as a brand, person, as a website developer, are like, well, how do I get the AI to find the website that I built? Like
Mm-hmm.
that, you know what I mean? That I wasn't making that connection. I was just like, oh, okay, it's an AI answer. Isn't that funny?
Oh yeah.
That's weird.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is like, I don't know, nuclear. For some, like I gave the example of weather.com earlier, like
Right.
can you imagine how much they lost it when this started happening, like all this traffic, all this, I'm assuming they're like, it's an ad-based business model, right? Like they had all this traffic, and then Google starts putting the weather immediately on the page, and nobody has, and this is years ago now, but
Yeah.
like like
Yeah,
this,
we don't have to go to that website anymore. So that
0
website
click
is out there in
search.
the dark.
Yep, exactly. And so the thing that kept us, the good news for the past few years has been that for interior designers and other sort of like, upscale service-based businesses, if you focused on intent-based search, if you focused on interior designer city, right,
Right.
as like what you were optimizing for, you were really getting around Google traditional search results. Google was still serving up, 10 blue links. Here are the recommendations. Go look at them. You need to go look at someone's portfolio anyway, blah, blah, blah. So that wasn't having as direct of an impact. However, we, we have reached a new moment. So between Google AI mode, which is basically, I mean, you're going to notice things like the sort of search bar or whatever is at the bottom of the page now, like ChatGPT. It's a conversation. It's going to ask you like, okay, so here are my recommendations for interior designers. Are you looking for something more specific in this way or this way? And it's a back and forth.
Wow.
People are using it differently. It's more conversational. There are, I mean, other things that are different. AI knows often about the person who is asking. Like your Chat GPT knows you really well. So
Yeah.
if there are qualities that you have, literally from like, yes, your location, to like, something about your lifestyle or the aesthetic that you prefer or whatever, like that is going to be taken into consideration, or you're just going to talk about it. I mean, we know
Yes.
this from talking to our clients that they're like, give me an interior designer who works really well with color and is good with like new construction or, like whatever. And
Yeah.
then some recommendations are going to be served up that are specific to that. This is a totally new thing.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It is. It's bonkers.
Yeah.
It is absolutely bonkers. So the thing about it is that when we think about that, like we've always needed to tell on our website, our About Us page, who we are, who we serve, why they should care about us, why we care about
Value
them.
proposition, like all of that.
Exactly, right? Like, so does that change now, Nicole, or do we just need to still do that, but we have to change the way we do it, or do we have to do more information to make it like what? I have to tell you, you know the show. We have been saying you got to figure out your Fred Burns only for 9.5 years. And if there's one question I get every time I'm live, I don't know what my only is, right? Like you work with brand discovery with every website you've ever built. And there are some that come to you and I'm like, they say to you, I got a pretty good idea of who I am, who I serve, and what I do. And others who are like, I have no idea. I'm a designer, man. Just like I want clients.
Yeah.
So is that even more important now?
Yeah, this is so interesting and exciting. So I'm like, I don't want to oversell it before I say it. Okay, so like human beings, we know, don't read every word of a website, right? And always like the bots that were crawling websites, they're crawling the entire website, but it's different now. It's being sort of like scooped up and kicked back in a summary to the person who is searching. So we need to give these large language models the material that they need. And one of the ways that we do that is through words on the website. So our recommendations are different than they used to be for this reason. So for example, I used to be kind of like, listen, the images tell the story. Like we don't need to necessarily sort of like decide what to call the aesthetic that a designer is putting out into the world, because we have a project section, people use different words, whatever. But the fact is that now, if you're asking for recommendations for interior designers in your area, there's going to be a summary that's kicked back, like, oh, if you're looking for this and this designer. If you're looking for that and that designer. And these words, we know from all the testing that we're doing, these words are coming from the website, and they are coming from Google reviews, and they are coming from, other directories, like, if there's an award that was given out or whatever. So we are recommending that we spell it out more, that we have to care a little bit more about copy than we used to, or not care more about copy, spell out how we want to be recommended a little bit more clear way with the aesthetics. Places that you can do that, I'm going to give you some places. So okay. Number one, we've always said, FAQs are just a sales opportunity. Like you want to, like the chances of conversion are higher if you have FAQs on your website. You can put them on the service page, you can put them on a separate page, whatever you want to do, but you can use those as an opportunity to clearly state what your thing is. Project details. Like I said, I was always kind of like, they just, like, people really do, from what we've seen, just want to see the pretty pictures. 70% of people are skimmers. They're not diving into it. But having project details, we like to do it in an accordion, so it keeps the page really clean. They click on, more details, the details about this project. So like the people who want to read it can read it. And either way, the search engines can see it. And include things like the sort of clump of material that we want to be associated. So that would be your business name, your location, and your service. We want to associate those things. Any aesthetic keywords, like I mentioned before, talking about the transformation, it was this and now it's that. And then anything special that you want to be associated with as a brand. So like oceanfront, second home, vacation home, like new construction, like whatever it is, we're just handing this information to the large language models on a silver platter.
Love it. So what I'm hearing is that 3 years ago, 5 years ago, we don't need to bog down the website pages with word. We need to make it, we used to make it skimmable, put some punchlines in there, some actual descriptions to get our brand and our messaging out there. But now you're saying, even if it's hidden accordion and the human isn't going to read it all, these large language models are going to read it all. And the difference is, in the past, the googly guy read it all, but he really didn't care. He didn't, if you didn't ask him about aesthetic, he didn't tell you about aesthetic.
Right, right.
Right.
No, I mean, and even then, it wasn't really structured like that, right? Like
Right.
nothing was being like filtered, collected, and served up to the person who
Right.
was asking.
Right.
Now, I mean, and we can see it. You can see it if you do your own testing. You
Yes.
can see like what's being quoted and where it came from. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Like what I'm hearing is if 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, I did a search for interior designer. If I said interior designer, Livingston, New Jersey, if I could be an interior designer next door to Window Works, but if I don't have Livingston, New Jersey on my website, which by the way, I just met a designer 2 weeks ago, Nicole, that did not have her location on the website.
I
Like,
meet them. I meet those.
lose my mind.
Oh,
Lose my
I was
mind.
like, what are you about to say?
I'm like,
Lose my
sweetie,
number.
like, what are you doing here?
Yeah,
You know,
I
right?
that's it's
So,
more it's more common than
oh, it's obnoxiously common.
it's
And I
common.
can't believe anybody who listens to my
Mhm.
podcast that comes to an interview with me still doesn't have it because I've said it 15,000 times. Even if you put it on there for the day I interview and I read your website, I
Yeah.
think you should do it.
In their defense, the world is like sort of like the messaging has been out there that like it is more high end to just like photo.
Yeah, forget it. I'm sorry.
Where do you work? What do you do? None of your business.
Exactly.
This is not
I'm
good.
so exclusive you can't find anything
Right.
out about me
Right.
that's
Listen,
valuable.
if you're 100, I mean, we know designers like that who are like
Yes,
literally
the
not on
one
the internet.
percenter.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
exactly, but that's not most of us,
yeah,
and that's not the people listening to a
yeah.
podcast, by the way.
If you're looking to grow, if you're looking to scale, if you want to be purposeful about your marketing and not rely on referrals, then yeah, there are things you have to do.
Yeah. So, like, the before and after is I could be located next to a consumer hunting, and if I didn't have location in my website, Google wouldn't have found me
Well,
necessarily,
I
right?
mean, yeah, if you have a Google business profile,
No, if I had none of that and I
okay,
didn't tell Google where I was, Google isn't necessarily going to serve that up as an answer.
no,
But now what you're saying is if the search is find me an interior designer in Livingston, New Jersey who specializes in beach homes, whatever,
uh-huh,
right? Now it might find 5 designers in Livingston, New Jersey, but it's going to come back and say, this one is the one who's in Livingston and does beach homes. It's
totally,
going to pick all of it up
yeah,
and tell you about it.
yeah.
Right. That's what I'm hearing is the
Livingston,
difference.
nowhere near the beach.
Well, right. But people live here, have beach
It's true.
houses.
It's true. Fact. You're right.
They have them. They do.
Like for those who are not in New Jersey,
That's right. There's no beach here.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
People live
No.
down the shore. That's how we say it in New
Yes,
Jersey. Yeah.
exactly. Jersey, we go down the shore.
We go
right?
down the shore.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it is that is the difference. Before it would
Okay.
have been like we're just serving up, yep, like here fact, Livingston, New Jersey interior designer ranks based on a million factors, right, that we've been like relying on. And now, yeah,
Right.
it's a different world.
But now if I'm a designer that I've got, a blog poster in my FAQs, do I go to the Hamptons? Do I go to down the shore? Now the large language model is going to pick that up and come back and say this designer is located in Livingston but has multiple projects in the Hamptons or multiple projects down, it's not going to say down the shore. It's going to say on the ocean front.
If it knows what's good for it, it would say down the shore, yeah.
Exactly.
If it's as smart as it says it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like acknowledging that like, if they just searched for Hamptons interior designer, like that's a very competitive area.
Right.
So it's going to pull designers who are actually in the Hamptons. Just the mention of the Hamptons in your FAQs, if you're a designer in Livingston, is not going to be enough. But if it's that specific, then yeah, you could.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's the interesting thing. We're going to go back to some of the things that they can actively do for themselves to make it better, right? For the search better.
Definitely.
But interestingly, I am aware of when I Google search, I'm aware of been giving the large language model answer. I'm aware of it. And I click on it often and will read it. And if it sounds good, I'm good. But
the AI overview.
Yes,
on top.
the AI overview, right? But I have not actively done searches like that because I know AI will lie to me. So whereas I have this feeling that Googly guy isn't lying, and that's probably just as silly. That's probably a story in my head. They both could be
I
liars.
love how you call it googly guy, and you always have.
I know.
It's been many years of that. What is
Because he always just seems like this person that we're like,
he?
we're trying to impress you. Please
Yep.
give us access to the people who
Yep.
want to find
Yep.
us.
It's a
Thank
man.
you.
Yep.
Yes, we're kneeling at
Uh-huh.
you. We're
Yep.
bowing.
Yep.
Please let our people
Thank you.
in.
Yes, we'll create a Google business for a while. Yes. So true. Oh, I forgot the question.
So the question is, I have this inherent like distrust
Oh,
of
yes.
the language models because I've watched it lie to me from my own book. I'm like, is that in my book? And they're like, oh, sorry, it's not in your book. I'm like,
literally, it is like in all the documentation around all of this, it will hallucinate and answers what they say. And that is the word that is being used, which I think is so dramatic. But it is the examples that I've seen, and when we've tested it, it's not that it's actually hallucinating an answer. Really, it's not like pulling it out of thin air, or at least it doesn't listen. Like check me on this, but the examples that I've seen when people looked into it, it was more like, hey, some random blog post says this data right here, and it's just incorrect. And the AI, the large language model, doesn't know the difference between correct information in some cases and something that was randomly put on the internet. So when it's pulling things together, and then I'm sure there are like legitimate, because I mean, if the term is hallucinate, there must be legitimate times when it's just made up.
Have a legit example of a made up and it's so funny because I just saw Wendy Glaser in Las Vegas Market last week, and I said to her, girl, wait till I tell you the story that happened. So Wendy Glaser was on the podcast. So I'll link her episode in the show notes. And in the podcast, she did not intend to, but she ended up going through and telling the story of how she was abused by her husband. Right. Mm-hmm. And then I had 4 or 5 months ago, I had a designer come on the podcast and I was interviewing her. And when the interview was done, like she is a designer in Canada that is a practicing mental health therapist and a practicing interior designer. She does them both because she still enjoys doing both. She has, at this point, no intention of picking one or the other.
What a wild day.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Basically taking care of people's brains all day long, right? And so, but she loves it and she enjoys it. And so when I was writing the outro for this, I said to myself, well, my writers wrote the outro. And then I was like, okay, I always judge it, I always change it, add my LuAnn nonsense to it. And I was like, this is a good opportunity to bring up 2 other episodes where the guests shared significant mental challenges, health challenges. And so Wendy with the, PTSD from being abused. And then Leah Mayer Perez had talked about how she suffered from depression and how she had moments where she might have waited 3 weeks for a new client consult. And it was the first client's consult in 3 weeks. And that day she couldn't get out of bed, like just couldn't do it. And having watched Christy, I can see that. Right. And so the thing is, I now I go to my feed, I download the transcript, I upload the transcript into my ChatGPT for both of these episodes. And I say, review these transcripts. I'm looking for in this paragraph here that we have written, which I gave our outro to, and just weave in, just get me going on the way I would say, and this reminds me of, right? Like it's my first draft writing partner is all it is. And all of a sudden it comes back and it says, I have to say, friends, this reminds me of when Wendy Glaser was here and talked about her battle with cancer. Can you imagine running your business and going through this at the same time? And I'm like, wait, what? And so I'm like, now the interview with Wendy was probably 17 or 18. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? On top of being abused, she also battled cancer. So I'm really, before I go read the transcript myself, I just said to it, I don't recall her having cancer. Please identify in the transcript the timestamps where she discusses that. Here it comes. So sorry. You're right. And I'm like, whoa. Like, I'm not having you out on the internet and searching this. I
Yeah.
gave you a document to search. So it's bonkers,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's,
You
we,
can't be asleep at the wheel
You
is the
no,
point.
no, you can't be asleep at the I mean, this is like all the more reason to just serve up the information to these LLMs to the best of your ability. But
Yes, I
yeah,
hear you.
we're at like a pivotal moment where I mean, things are evolving really quickly, and like, I mean, there are some famous stories with like the Google AI mode. I think it was giving everyone the wrong date or something the first, like crazy.
Yeah,
Like crazy.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I mean, give it 6 months, or
yeah, yeah.
it's just going to keep evolving. So
Yeah. And but I guess the thing that I was making is meanwhile, I guess what it is why I've quote unquote trusted Googly is because it doesn't tell me the
right,
answer. It tells me 5 places to find the answer.
right,
And then I got to sift through, is this a dumbass website or is this a good
right,
website?
right.
Okay, that
And
makes sense.
how ranking has traditionally worked. I mean, there are a lot of metrics that Google uses, ranking factors that are meant to prevent spam from ending up on the
Yeah.
first page. And
Yeah.
like, I mean, they're looking for authority. They're looking for, certain signals. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and there is that a lot that still carries over from traditional search.
Yes, we're not just throwing out the baby with the
Oh my
bathwater.
God.
We still need to develop our website to that authority and make sure that we're coming up in those searches for the right things.
Yes. I mean, so basically, the way these LLMs work in the most simplified way to say it is like they start with their knowledge base, right? So like the training model, and then so you'll notice this, right? Like when you search for something or when you ask a question on, let's say, ChatGPT or whatever, sometimes it just kicks out an answer, just gives you an answer, and
Yeah.
other times it hallucinates an answer, and other times you see that little searching the web,
The
right? And it
analyzing,
doesn't
right.
always do
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
So
Searching the
there
web.
it
Yeah.
depends, right? So when it is searching the web, it is searching the web, you
Yeah. Yeah.
know.
It's going to say, I don't really know this already. Let me go find the
Let me
answer.
go find it based on like what is live out in the world right now. And but there are some key differences between traditional search and how LLMs search the web. So
Yeah.
dot
So
dot dot. We can talk about that.
so the point is we're not going to discard all of the good practices that all of your other episodes have told us
Yeah.
about the good practices for traditional search,
Mm-mm.
but we're going to add into it now some good practices for successful AI search.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Okay.
So number one, and this is just, and I mentioned this before, like test yourself, right? So I'm going to start with that, and then we'll go into actual like do this and this. But test yourself. And this is part of it. This is the first time in history that we are able to go to our search engine and be like, "Hey, girl, why didn't you recommend me?" Like, I just asked you for the top whatever, and it's not a big deal. But like, why not? What can I do to be recommended? What would you need to see? This is amazing. This is so exciting.
Wow.
We've never had that
Like the
opportunity.
cheat sheet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I mean,
Yeah.
it's a conversation. How great is that? And you're going to get different answers literally at different times of day, it feels like. But at least this is a good way to gather information. So you can ask things. You can look at the top 5 recommendations that it makes. Sometimes it'll be a chart, sometimes it'll just be a list with summaries. Like it tends to vary. But there are often going to be little citations underneath that if it's searching the web, and you can just hover over that and you can click through them and see like where is the information coming from. Will this always be the case? I don't know. It's early
Right.
days, but right now you can actually see where it's coming from. So you can do that research. We are certainly doing this for our clients,
Yeah.
like doing that research to see, okay, so these are the top 5. This is where the information is coming from. And so then you want to be, and some of the information is coming from their websites always, but then
Right.
sometimes it's going to be some sort of directory or some sort of like local blog post that gives a top 10 or like whatever. And that is gold. That
Yeah.
information is gold because you can use that to take action. So that's my number one thing. First, like, well, either work with someone like us who can do this for you,
Right.
or you can always like start messing around and see like what's happening. While you're doing this testing, you're also going to see when it mentions your firm, how it summarizes you. And that again is gold. Like how, this, if you're looking for blah, 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 like this is what they do. Okay, well, that's interesting because you might find that whatever it's saying, however it is summarizing your firm, is not to your liking. Like if you
Mm.
have conflicting information somewhere on your website, if you have old blog posts that are like DIY focused, like this is the moment to be like, all right, I want to make sure that all arrows point in the right direction when it comes to my content, because someone is reading all of it.
Isn't that interesting? Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like we think it's this blog post from 5 years ago, scroll it up 20 pages and you'll find it and it's not relevant anymore, but yeah, maybe it was completely a different service that you were offering or
Mm-hmm.
you didn't understand, don't teach DIY if you want luxury.
Yeah.
And but the LMM is finding that and saying, well, you said, let's make, curtains together or
Yeah.
something.
I mean, I have to acknowledge, let's make curtains together.
Get your sewing
What a
machine
fun
out, sweetie.
That sounds awful
It
for
does.
everyone, for all involved. But yeah, oh, sorry. I'm like, okay. So, I will acknowledge that though, that like, LLMs do prioritize newer content.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
let's just, all the nuance, right? So
Yep.
like newer awards, newer posts, like that stuff is more meaningful.
Okay.
So just to say, like all of this, it's a big soup,
Yeah.
right? A lot of ingredients. So I would do your testing, see how you're being described, look at how your competitors are being described. And if you prefer the way that they are being described, food for thought.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
If you're
yeah.
seeing like somebody's, specializing in oceanfront, like I said before, like, and you're like, that's me, or what we are on
Wanna
the
be known
inside, it's
for,
just not showing
yes.
on the outside. Then that's something that you're going to want to like weave into your content. So that's number one.
Okay.
Follow up.
Um,
Yeah.
I had a question in there. It went out of my head. Go ahead.
Fair,
It'll
great.
come back.
Interrupt me whenever. Okay. Next, go ham on your Google reviews. Like prioritize Google reviews.
Okay.
Why did you look at me like that?
I was wondering what go ham
Go
on it
ham.
meant. I
All
was
right,
like,
go ham. Like go
just
like
go for it.
yeah, just go like get crazy. So Google reviews play a pretty damn serious role
Wow.
when it comes to authority in the old world and the new world. It's always meant a lot, and we've always recommended that people really prioritize that for the local pack. The 3-pack where on the map results, it was always like you have a much higher chance of showing up in that local pack if you have more Google reviews than your competitors.
Right.
So it's always been really valuable. But now we've got AI search just quoting from Google reviews, making recommendations. This is the top rated interior design firm.
Wow.
Like, don't you want to be top rated, quote?
Yes.
And where is it coming from? Coming from a few different places, but definitely Google reviews are like that's the top. That's the
Wow.
most important thing. There are other sort of like, places that you want to hit with reviews potentially, but if you can prioritize, that's where you want to prioritize.
Okay. And I would think not as easy to do, but certainly possible to do. I would think then what the clients are saying in the Google reviews is important, not
Yes,
just great to work with. Like we want the client to say the thing about us that
absolutely.
they liked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because they're being quoted. I
Yep.
mean, AI, I mean, we've seen it in the testing where it's coming back and saying like Google, like people say in their reviews that blah, 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 like
Right.
quotes from the
Right.
Google reviews. And
Interesting.
it's looking, the AI is looking for patterns, right? Like if a
Mm.
bunch of people are saying like this great project management, then that is going to come out in the summary.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
you know,
I know what the other question was, and it had to do with this testing part. So since you're going into the actions when we did your own testing, my question was,
mm,
can you, because your GPT
mm,
knows you,
sure.
can
Yep.
you really test your own
Mm,
GPT? And do you have to use like a friend or ask a friend in
yeah.
Colorado if you're in New Jersey to do it?
Yeah, yeah. So we do it in all the ways, and you guys can do the people who are listening can do the same thing. Where like we'll do testing in our like paid ChatGPT that knows us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll do it in an incognito window on the free version of ChatGPT as well. We'll do it in Google AI mode. We'll do it in, like we're trying out different things. You could certainly have a friend do the same,
Right.
run the same tests. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I
It's
had
a
somebody for
really
the
good
first
question.
time
Yeah.
recently. I was interested in my chairman of the board program and me coaching them for a year, and it was a pretty big firm, like 40 people in Florida. And in the first 4 or 5 minutes, I'm like, that doesn't feel like she really knows me. Like and I finally said, I said, curious. I said, how did you hear about me? And I said, are you familiar with the podcast? And she's like, no, after I reached out to you, I learned that you had a podcast, like when I reached out to you and looked at your website, but I didn't know that beforehand. And I'm like, wait, what? And so I said, okay, now I got to ask, how did you? She goes, I asked ChatGPT to recommend me, the top consultants in the industry, specifically for the design industry, to take our business from point A to point B. And I just said, oh, and she said, and she's working in this design firm now in operations. It's a big firm, like I said. But she ended up telling me during the conversation her MBA is something in technology and AI and all of that, right? Something like crazy pants. And she said, and the thing is, I asked multiple LLMs and I asked in multiple ways. And she said, and regardless of who came up, you were the one person who was coming up on all responses. So then I had to go to your website and I was like, whoa.
There you go.
Yeah.
She trusts that recommendation.
Yeah.
She trusts it kind of like a referral.
Exactly. It was pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, oh, so I can't talk an inside voice with you because you don't know how crazy I am. All right. So let me button it up for this conversation.
Whatever. She's going to learn so quick. You can't keep it down, LuAnn, please.
Usually people aren't interested in chairman of the board. Like, I've been listening to you for 5 years. I've been listening to that. It's like, okay, we know each other. Let's go.
Yeah. You had to
I thought that was interesting. Yes. Okay. Professional hat. Serious LuAnn. Okay. She's entered the building. Okay. No, but I mean, it was just interesting that, and so what you're saying is that if we want to do our own testing, like, hey girl, how come I didn't get thing, we should do it. I don't know how to get to incognito mode, but we should do that. And we should ask maybe closer friends that are in different parts of the country to do the testing, right?
I mean, you can ask like, what are, how can I show up in this top 5?
Yes,
I mean,
that it wants to know you. Yeah. Is it even a thing where you could say, pretend you don't know anything about me and go tell me which are the top interior designers in New Jersey, or you can?
That's a great question. I bet it is. Yeah.
I wonder if it would do it or be like, no, I can't pretend. I already know I'm a computer. I know that. I know that.
If it can, I'm sure it could do it. It can do a lot of things, or it might hallucinate something.
Okay. All right. So as far as to-dos for us, we are going to make sure that we are legitimately making sure business name, location, aesthetic, the transformation that we give to people in our design work, and any differentiator are mentioned. Probably multiple times in multiple ways on the website. We're not forgetting Google reviews. We're not saying it doesn't matter. I'm an interior designer. I don't need Google reviews. Girl, you need Google reviews.
Yeah.
Right.
There are things that used to not matter that matter. With this. So for example, mentions. So traditionally in search engine optimization, backlinks really still matter, like just like a really big thing. So a backlink is a link from, generally you're looking for like a high authority website, eldecor.com or whatever, realtor.com, a link on their website to your website. It's like a vote for your website. It's a way to demonstrate authority and that you're not spam, right? Okay. And if it's like industry specific, that's great. Or if it's local, like a chamber of commerce or something like that, also great. With AI search, mentions are, from what we're seeing, just as important as backlinks. So just So this is good news because it's easier to get a mention than it is to get a backlink. This is all part of that sort of like hive of, uh, talking about you, feeding
Yeah.
information. Oh, like, associating the name of the service, the location, and your business name, putting those things together in all different places.
Hmm.
So a part of our service when we are optimizing for search is to citations. So citations are basically like glassdoor.com and Better Business Bureau and like maybe there's a LinkedIn company page that gets set up, and like all of these things are just like it's this hive of sort of like this is a real business, and we're all these places mention it. Because mentions matter now and just words matter now more than they used to, things like a press release, which used to be, so there was a time, I remember the time many, many years ago when it was like a great SEO shortcut to pay for a press release service, and that would sort of like spit your name of your business, your link, whatever, out into a bunch of places. But Google, of course, like is smart about these things. A lot of things used to work and then stopped working because Google started, these links weren't as important. Like Google understood that this was something that you paid for.
Yeah.
From what we're seeing right now, this is, like I said,
Real time,
real
August
time. Yeah, you
2025.
listen to this sitting here and you're going to be like, you're stupid. What you're saying is dumb. But as of right now, the AI, the large language models are not differentiating between paid mentions and organic mentions.
Interesting.
So it is beneficial to you at this moment to pay for a press release when something is worthy of announcing, when there is going to be some positive sentiment that you can put out into the world about your business. To pay a few $100s for a press release is a good idea. There are services for this. So you're
Interesting.
releasing a new service, you won an award, like this is going to, and you can associate those things. Don't forget your keywords: location, interior design, or whatever, and the name of your business.
Okay.
Wins best, whatever. Because
Right.
awards are something else. I'll just mention it now, that we're seeing as like a heavy like factor when it comes to authority. When we ask the LLMs, like, so why did you recommend these? How can this designer get on your recommendation list? They could win awards. This is an
Yeah.
answer that we're getting.
Literally. Yeah.
Literally.
And
Literally.
what's so funny is
Google
it's a
reviews awards.
tedious process to submit your awards to, whether it's NKBA or
Oh,
IDS
nothing
or
is easy.
ISID.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very tedious process. Not only just gathering like having
Mhm.
the project worthy, but then the whole and a lot of times, designers don't bother doing it because they're like, whatever, my client isn't hiring me because I have
Oh,
an
it
award.
was like before it was just like I want this. This is what I'm saying, that like what matters is like kind of changing.
Yeah.
But don't forget the awards for like the town awards. Best
Ah.
interior designer in
Oh,
Morristown.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, those things that we know we just have all our friends and neighbors vote for us, and then
That's
we win
right.
it, and
Yep.
it really
Yep,
oh,
yep, leverage
yeah,
that stuff. Like any awards are going to be good, and like we said, nothing's like, you're not like pushing a button on this
right.
stuff, but these models are, they're trying to collect real information to give a
Mhm.
real answer.
So what's
So,
interesting is, I know that a lot of communities have, like, their community magazine, right?
mhm,
So in our area, we have the Chatham Madison Times, or we've got the Suburban Essex, or whatever it is. These are magazines that are editorial slash advertorial,
mhm,
right? Like,
mhm,
it's like there's 6 articles that are legit articles. Like, I've written an article on window treatments, what you should look for in window treatments,
yeah,
but they asked me to do it because I'm spending $30,000 a year paying for an ad. And they're like, hey, do you want to write a how to or a, information thing? And a lot of times I'm like, why don't you just make your own content? I'm over here doing my job. I'll just give you the 6,000 for the, I used to be like,
right,
I don't need another job. I just want to pay you to run my ad. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? But what you're saying now is that's a caveat. That's a thing that the AI is going to pick up and read and say,
I mean, it depends what
Oh,
you're.
no, you're saying I got to bring that to my website. I got to now link that to my website and say, hey, I was a WindowWorks writer was featured in this XYZ.
I'm saying, I mean, like you could look at that example in a few different ways. Like if
Okay.
that were, if it was a personal brand thing, like you're published on that platform, it sounds like it would be a good mention for the business. Like there are a couple of benefits to that.
Mhm.
So it depends. It depends what your goals are there.
Okay.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing they have every year is in May or whatever, they run an issue, women in business.
Mm.
And you know what I mean? And, you know, we did it 3 years ago. You know, me and Kim took like, sent the photographer to take our picture. It was last year that me and Vin owned the business. So it was like passing the torch, right? And then this year, JC wanted us to do it again. I'm like, dude, it's the same people that read it. It's the same two of us. I'm not doing it again. Like, I'm not doing it again. But now I'm seeing probably should have done it
It's like a
again.
fresh, right, right. It's more current. They value what's more current. Yep, yep,
Yep,
yep.
yep, got it, got it. Okay,
A lot of
so
homework.
those are good opportunities that a designer should or a window treatment person should look in their world for
Hmm.
ways to get those backlinks and get those well, not just backlinks, but the mentions.
Mentions, yeah, and always like again associating those three things: business name, location, service. Like
Okay.
look for ways to associate yourself with that. Some of those things, like I mean, getting what's it called, on the Better Business Bureau,
Yeah.
that whatever that they're like, that's a paid, like
Yeah.
like there's a paid aspect to that. Chamber of Commerce, that's paid. So there you have to like weigh out
Mm.
what is worth it to you, but these things all come together.
I mean, what could it cost to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce?
My thing, Lou, is like I like to have two reasons to do anything.
Yeah.
So so this would be a benefit that if you were like, I also want to because,
Yeah.
then it
Yeah.
would make sense.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I
It's
mean,
not a lot.
I'm just always like, well, what's your average project? If your
Hmm.
average even if your average project is $10,000, could it
Right.
cost you $10,000 to
Right.
be in the chamber? Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No, it's
If you
true.
get one more, search result from it that results in a $50,000 design fee, are we worried about the $800 to be a member of the chamber? I don't know. It seems like the wrong analogy to me. Eh,
This is the beauty of having a more sort of upscale big ticket service,
Yeah,
that your marketing can really pay off like
yeah.
quickly and
Yeah,
easily.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, 100%. Okay, so, um, press releases,
Yeah.
mentions, Google reviews, what else? Anything else
Yeah.
before we say the mistakes that we could make?
Yeah, like we said before, feeding information. As far as
Mm,
what we want to avoid, um,
yeah,
when it comes to information, you know, we are also in a world where you can crank out, as we all know, I could generate,
junk.
120 pages of
Yeah,
content in the next 3 seconds or
yep,
whatever. I'm
junk.
exaggerating,
Right.
but not really. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, like it is, we are being bombarded. We as a society, the internet is being bombarded by junky content. So of course, that's going to be filtered out, right? So anything that is boilerplate, anything that is fluffy, that has no, you want to have some first person experience in it. Ideally, like these are one of the ranking signals, EEAT, like the ranking signals that you want first person experience. You want to avoid keyword stuffing. Like it's just too obvious. You want something that even if a person's not really gonna read it, but like like
Yeah.
it's nothing. Nobody likes keyword stuffing, including AI models. So you want to avoid all that. That's all basic SEO stuff. Um, as I mentioned before, you want to avoid any wrong associations. So you want to really
Mm,
review your brand, because these things are going to be sort of like pulled in. You want to avoid communicating the wrong message, and you'll see that when you test if the summary is wrong. So avoiding that DIY content. The last thing I'll say here, and it's sort of it's a broad thing to say, but you want to avoid getting stuck, because this is such an evolving situation. What works
mm.
now, I mean, I can think of when it comes to traditional search engine optimization, I I mean, there was a time when I was around building websites when it was you could do white text on a white background, and stuff it with keywords, and that would
Wow,
help you to rank. That was real.
wow,
That was
wow.
a real thing. There was a time when link farms which was just like clusters of websites that would all like, you could pay to like have backlinks from them, when a link farm would that would help you to rank, using those sort of like black hat SEO is what it's called. Like anything
Yeah.
that like is going to potentially kind of like come back to bite you in the butt, like that,
Yeah.
anything like that, that's sort of trying to game the system. So we want to make sure that, fact, like what works today might not work in 6 months or a year or 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to stay agile.
Right.
And that might mean that you are working with a company like ours that is like, this is all we care about, like we love it,
Right.
or that you are staying on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I think that you can't, I mean, it's no different than if a consumer brought to you an inspiration picture. I don't care if it's from AD or Pinterest. You would never be like, I'm going to find the exact sofa. I'm going to find that exact rug. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
find that exact lamp and that exact chair. And I'm a designer and I designed that room. Like you would no longer, no way copy that. You take that as inspiration. And to me, when I'm working with the AI all day, it's the same thing. It's the first draft. It is not the thing that goes to the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you've got to, so if you can't just, to your point, okay, I'm going to do my FAQ page and I'm going to do my about you page and I'm just going to tell it all these things. And then whatever it says, I'm going to print. I mean, I'm going to stick on my website. Like
No,
that's a
and
mistake.
it is, and messaging and positioning and unique value proposition, all of this stuff matters more than ever,
Yeah.
because it's being summarized and handed to them.
Yeah.
So it is not just that people are like, okay, I see the top 10 results on the first page and I'm going to click the first 3 and I'm going to look at the images and I might skim the text. This is like, this information is just being put in front of them.
Yeah.
So everything continues to have to be very custom.
Yeah.
By,
right. So
by
what you're
brand.
saying is if if you ask it to help you write your about you page, for example,
Mm-hmm.
right, is you gotta now read it. Do I feel great about this? So I have to change these words. I have to judge it because what you're saying, AI is going to now take that and resend it to the world and say, this is what this person says about themselves.
When it comes to creating content for your website, you're gonna work with a copywriter, if you're gonna work with someone, an agency like ours. But if you're drafting content, it is very important that, and we've all heard this before, and LuAnn, you've said it, you've lived it, that we are not just getting it straight from a ChatGPT or Gemini or Perplexity or whatever. There are a lot of reasons for this. But as I mentioned before, one of them is that the signals that the search engines look for include first-person experience. So you want to make sure that you are, it's garbage in, garbage out. You can get the beginning of a draft for like a blog post or whatever. You totally can, as long as you are providing, that you're feeding it. Like you said before, you're feeding it your take on something.
Right.
You're feeding it your take, and then you're going to adjust it, and you're going to make sure, and you might ask it to, there are certain habits that, ChatGPT has with writing that you might want it to not do, sort of like, it's not this, it's that, like that whole thing. As far as M dashes go, that whole thing, I'm just furious because I love an M dash so much. And those long dashes, how like the word on the street is like, oh, well, AI wrote it if there's an M dash.
Christy just said that to me yesterday. Is
really?
that a true thing? Yeah.
Well, people are saying that, and it is a true thing, but for copywriters and for agencies, we're like, what?
Yeah.
We've always used it's the best punctuation. It's the most useful punctuation. Please don't besmirch, is that a real word? The reputation of the beautiful M dash.
And the thing is, here you are, a real human using it. Now it's going to be accused of an AI using it.
Oh my God. Terrible, tragic, small tragedy. Yeah. So that's the thing. There has to be back and forth there, but the sort of like raw material of it has to be your take.
Yes.
It has to.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm so grateful that there is the talking mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I can talk a heck of a lot easier than I can type.
Yeah.
And I will sit there and say, I'm looking for the way to describe this nuance. It's like I was doing a solo show for Window Treatments for Profit a few months ago, and I was talking about the salesperson that wants to give you all the technical details. They want to tell you what the bracket is like and, how many horsepower the motor is. And, I'm just like, dude, how much is it for the shade? Just how much is it?
Yeah.
Like, just what color is it? How much is it? Do I just give you money and you do the rest?
When will it be here? Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Right. And the thing was, I'm describing this and saying, like, there's a tendency with some it's a small subset of salespeople, because most salespeople are not technology or not detail driven, right? But there's and it was like coming back. I'm like, no, you're missing the nuance. It is good to know the details, but you have to wait to be asked for the detail. So I was back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And finally it's like, now I understand, LuAnn, what you want to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then even then it's not done, because once I get it to what I want to say, then I pull it out. I go into Google and I actually do the rewrite, the revision, and bring it all to life in my own words. And then for me, I copy and paste that and I put it right back in. I'm going, just for your knowledge, this is the final draft of what you did. Like, this is me now. This is my words, right?
Yeah.
Just to keep teaching it, Anyway, so all right, so it's a whole crazy new world out there, Nicole.
It really is.
Yeah. Pretty nuts.
Yeah, it's fun.
So, did we leave anything out on the topic, or?
I don't know. Get excited. I don't know.
I just make sure we didn't leave any of your pitfalls or your devoids out or anything like that. No, we covered them.
Just stay agile with this stuff. It's we're gonna look back at this time and say, like, that was a real pivotal moment for marketing in general.
It's so funny because every time
pivotal in a lot of ways, obviously.
It's funny because, like, we've been running over the last summer a lot of best of shows and most downloaded shows and all the things, and the ones that are in the title and the queue are like, if they're like Instagram marketing, I'm thinking, I wonder if half that crap is still logical at this point.
Probably, there are some things that are evergreen, right? But
like, disclaimer, this is from 2017.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I always tell the story. It's so funny, of the first time I interviewed Rachel Moriarty, and that was in 2016, and we're standing there. Maybe it was 2017, might have been 17. And she's telling me how she's running her business and all the different things. And she's telling me how that, she gets on Zooms with Dixie and they have work jams. And I'm like, what's Zoom?
No.
Right?
No.
And she's like, well, it's this thing that we can see each other on the computer while we're talking. I'm like, wait, what? Like the Jetsons?
No.
Could you imagine?
We are going to, this is exactly how it's going to be. It's going to be that we're going to look back on the old version of search and be like, well, that was weird. Like, it just like gave us a list of websites and we had to go look at them.
We had to do our own work to read each one.
We had to read each one. Yeah. Wild, man.
I know. Anyway, well, thank you so much, because as always bring great information, relevant information, things that we need to be doing. And I just appreciate you so much. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you so much, LuAnn.
To me in this conversation, Nicole said that this moment in time reminds her of other massive pivots, like when websites had to go mobile responsive, or when Google Ads first came on the scene. If you were in business back then maybe you remember it. The rules changed, and if you didn't adjust, you got left behind. And Nicole is telling us we're at that moment again, only this time it's AI-powered search, large language models, summarized answers. It's a new way of being found or not being found online. Let's break down what this means, because I know this is a lot to take in, right? These AI tools are scanning your entire digital footprint, your website, your Google reviews, your press mentions, and they're pulling summaries about you. So when someone asks ChatGPT for a luxury interior designer, or even asks Google for a luxury interior designer in your town who specializes in new construction or coastal homes or family-friendly spaces, AI is choosing based on what you've already put out there. So that's both a risk, but it's also an opportunity. If your website still has outdated copy, old service pages, blog posts about DIY from like 2015, then those things could be dragging down the clarity of what you do now. If you're not mentioning your location clearly, do not get me started on that one, or describing your aesthetic in words, not just photos, then AI might skip right over you. But the flip side, if, like Nicole says, you start feeding it the right info, then you can influence how you are recommended. And Nicole gave us some real specific actions to do exactly this. First, start Googling yourself. See how AI is already summarizing you, keeping in mind it's only bringing out what you've said to it, okay? So if you don't like how it's summarizing you, it's somewhere online pulling this information, right? Next, Nicole said to check your Google reviews. Are they full of keywords and phrases that actually describe the transformation you provide? If not, start by helping your consumers create the kind of reviews that do this for you, right? Start asking your consumers, your clients, if they could use specific phrases. Next, she said to add project details. Even if they're in hidden accordions, the bots are reading everything. And so if Nicole doesn't happen to be your webmaster, then make sure you're bringing this up to whoever you're working with. And then next is spell out your aesthetic, according to Nicole. Don't assume that your work speaks for itself. Make it easy for AI to know who you are, what you do, how you do it, what's passionate for you, all the things. And then Nicole said, consider a press release. Right now, AI, she said, is not distinguishing between paid and organic mentions. So get ahead on this while you can, because in a year from now, she's probably going to say, AI knows it's a press release and they're avoiding that. But take advantage now, right? Be an early adopter. And then her final tip was to clean up conflicting content. Delete or revise anything that sends missed messages about what you do and who you serve. And I will just tell you, if you do not think that you have mixed messages on your website, go look again. Listen to any one of the on-air strategy sessions that I've done in the last year and a half, and you will see that often what you think you're saying and then what you actually say are completely two different things. All right. So whether you are a seasoned interior design firm or a newer interior designer getting started, this is a moment to audit and adapt. You've got assets out there that may be working against you, but with a few intentional changes, you could dramatically improve how you get discovered, right? And also too, if you are brand new, stay strong. Build your digital footprint with clarity and purpose so that you don't have to backpedal later. And Nicole said it best. This isn't a someday thing, right? It's here. It's already here. And it's going to shape who wins the visibility game in this next season of business. So don't sit back, take action, start with a Google search, ask ChatGPT why it didn't recommend you, get curious, get visible, and stay visible. Nicole, I love you. I adore you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you always for being the expert that I trust and a voice of reason for me in all the ways that I do business, but especially in this fast changing landscape that we're in right now. You keep us grounded and ahead of the curve all at the same time. And that is a truth. That is a truth about you, my friend. You keep me grounded and ahead of the curve somehow in the same moment. And thank you for listening. Don't forget to grab Nicole's free resource at LuAnnNigara.com/goodies. Okay. It's a free resource, LuAnnNigara.com/goodies. And while you're there, take a minute to browse the LuAnn University course list. Your future self will thank you. Thanks tons for joining me today. Decide to be excellent. Thank you for joining me today. This podcast is a production of LuAnn Nigara, Inc. If you want to know more about me, my books, or LuAnn University, go to LuAnnNigara.com. And if you are interested in having WindowWorks help you with your next window treatment or awning project in the New York, New Jersey metro area, go to WindowWorksNJ.com to learn more. Have an excellent day.